Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot with Caroline. And you guys, I am so excited for this episode because guess what? My best friend is here. You guys, the one and only Monika Blunder from Monika Blunder Beauty. You guys, we have, not only is she a celebrity makeup artist, but we've been able to build such an incredible friendship literally later in life. And we both started businesses together later in life. So we've created this incredible bond. And I think her story is just so fascinating because it just proves once again, which I love proving, that you can do anything. There is no time limit. There is no age limit to finding your happy. So I want to welcome Monika here, my bestie, Monika Blunder.
First of all, thank you for that beautiful introduction.
I love you so much. Let's get started because I just think your story, number one, meeting you is probably the greatest, one of the greatest gifts that I have been given. Because truly, not going to cry, we're not going to cry, but truly, to build bonds later in life, I think it's just we've normalized women not supporting each other and not making close friendships or not wanting to see each other win. And I think we have such a different perspective on that. And I really want to change the narrative of it because I do believe that women not only can support each other, lift each other up, but actually succeed together and actually build an incredible life together, right? Like we would call each other husband and wife because me and Monika are together 24/7. But I want to get a little bit
We're still trying to figure out who is the wife and who is the husband.
Monika, I am the wife. We argue this all the time. The driver is the husband and you drive, okay?
Oh yeah, right. I am always
you are
the one driving.
You're the driver and you get feisty driving. So you're the, okay? No, but seriously. Yeah. Give us a little background on, because I just think you're the most incredible human. I think your kindness, your positivity, your work ethic, and I always admire your incredible family and your marriage and your children. I just think you're an incredible human being. And I feel so lucky to have you in my corner. And we will tell the story of our love story of how we met. But can you give everyone a background, really how you guys are? You're from Austria, that we love, and give us a little background on you, how you got started in this business. Because I know you used to go visit your brother on sets, but I think anyone who's living somewhere, especially in a small town or somewhere far away that thinks this isn't possible for me, how was it possible for you?
Yeah, well, again, thanks for having me, and I'm excited to share my story with you. I grew up in Austria. I'm born and raised. I come from a very small mountain region town in Austria. I come from a ski resort. So I'm like, if you know Austria, I'm really close to a town called Kitzbühel, which is, I think, comparable to like the Aspen of Austria.
Right, okay.
And so I grew up really like in a very natural way. Like I like to compare my parents to like Gwyneth Paltrow. Like they were really like so ahead of their game.
Yeah.
They were really into like, the
Tell
natural.
them what your dad would do.
Like my dad and my mom, they're both so active, but also the way how they live their life. Like they eat super clean. My dad hunts for his own mushrooms in the summer. My mom picks her own berries and makes her own jam. They have their own apple trees outside. Like they are super like
they're
organic
busy, right?
and busy.
And I think that's what keeps them healthy.
Yeah,
honestly.
Absolutely. And
but
so,
that's where you grew up is so beautiful.
It looks fake. It's the hills are alive. Like I'm literally from the hills are alive, from the Sound of Music.
Like not joking. Like I want to go there and just run through the field. I mean, it's so beautiful. So your upbringing was just very natural, outdoorsy, and you really appreciated that.
And I wasn't really around beauty. So that's what's really interesting, that I actually ended up as a makeup artist because, like I said, I grew up, skiing after school, athletic, no makeup. But I did have a little bit of an interest, and that sort of started, I think, early on, like around 13, I remember, where I would, because my mom would not buy me like fancy clothes or anything like
she
that.
Wouldn't, right?
But we had this
and she didn't wear makeup.
No, my mom didn't wear a lot of, she only wore like a little bit of concealer under her eyes, and she would wear a little bit of lipstick.
But that's it.
Very
natural.
And all the women around me were very natural. But I remember like 13, when I sort of like started puberty, I remember we had this one really cool boutique in I come from a town with 20,000 people, so it's really small.
Wow.
But we had this beautiful one store where I would remember like walking by with my mom. I'm like, can we just stop and look in the window? and I like would like admire like the clothes and the shoes, and my mom was like, no, we can't afford this, like we can go in the store. But I like that's sort of like where
It appealed to you.
It appealed to me, and
The
like
interest.
fashion, so the interest sort of like sparked. And then like 14, 15, like my brother is older than me, he's like 6 years older than me, and he was working as a camera assistant in Munich. Munich is like an hour away from my hometown. Munich is Germany already,
Right.
but it's an hour away from where I'm from in Austria. So I would take the train and I would go visit him, because after school I would be like, I want to just go and see my brother on set,
Right.
because it was something really cool and different for me. And I remember like the first sort of like visits, going to the makeup departments and being like, oh my God, there's like a job for this. Like people, they learn and study this. And like I just like started like being obsessive over it.
Really?
And that's sort of like where my first introduction came from. And then I would do that a lot. I would visit him, and then I was like, I just finished high school, and I said to my dad, you know what, maybe I should, like, I want to go to a beauty school. I want to like go to a makeup school. We didn't have anything like that where I'm from in Austria. So
Did your parents think you were crazy?
yeah, they thought I was crazy.
Right.
And then I found a school in Germany, in Frankfurt, which was a private school. And then when I told my dad I want to go there, he's like, you're absolutely crazy and we can't afford this. It was like, it was,
Well, it's like when I told my parents I was going to acting school. They're
Yeah.
like, what? You're
Yeah.
supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer. I was like, what?
And no one goes to private schools where I'm from.
They don't,
at
right?
that time when
Yeah.
I was growing up, no one was. So, but I just want to show you sort of like where my mentality came
Yeah.
from. Like I was always the one who found a way to do certain things. So my dad was like, no, we can't afford this. So what I did is I wrote a letter to the Austrian government, and I basically I wish to this day that I would have this letter. I don't
Me
have it
too.
anymore, but I wrote like a 10-page letter to the Austrian government, and I basically told them that I want to become a makeup artist, but there's no schooling in Austria for it. There's nowhere for me to learn this, and and I don't know what else I wrote in there. Anyway, a couple of months later, I got a letter back from the Austrian government, and they basically offered to pay half of the school.
What?
Half of the school. And then I showed my dad the letter, and he was like, okay, you went that far, I'm going to pay the other half.
Oh my
so he
God.
matched it
See, but that's
for
the thing.
me.
You're a hustler. This is what I always love
But,
about you. You're a
yeah,
hustler too.
I started really early hustling. And it's
you guys,
something,
ladies, you need to hustle. I hate to say it, like sitting around doing nothing is never going to get your dreams.
yeah,
right?
but
You
I
have to
think
go for it.
you become a hustler when things are not given to you. So I think like these, like that's
Work
what I'm.
ethic.
I try to teach this to my children too. And I listened to your episode the other day when you talked about being a mom and the helicopter parent and And I think that to become a hustler, you have to fight for things. And when everything is given to you all your life, you get all the clothes, you get all the best schools. Like sometimes that fire is not there, right? I had
agree
that
with you.
fire. Like I was so hungry,
To get out.
to get out and to
Yes.
do things and to become someone and become different. And
And that can either happen when you're in a small town, and it
Yeah.
can also happen when you have an unhappy home.
yeah,
Because for me, I also wanted to get out, but I had everything I wanted.
Yeah.
I was the opposite of you. I had everything I wanted, but I didn't have the love, the respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I felt like I needed to get out to
Yeah.
be able to be successful and not stay in this. You know what I mean? So I think that small town, you want to break out or you want to get out of your house, honestly lights a fire under you. Doesn't it? That's what creates the hustler.
Absolutely agree. So, yeah, so that's
So how did you come over here? Like, how did you, because you guys, she does, I mean, yeah, I'm going to name drop. Why not? Gemma Chan. Wait, who just won the 2 awards that you just did her makeup for?
I mean, I've done
everybody.
probably-
Jessica Alba.
I've done
Jessica, I mean, Jennifer Garner.
I've done everyone.
Kate Hudson. I mean,
yeah.
literally every single celebrity that you all love. How the hell did you do that?
I mean,
Because I think there's so many young girls, truly, and even older women right now. I have a friend who just started, makeup school. We have a friend that
Yeah.
just did makeup school, like at our age, because she's starting to feel like she wants to do something, and makeup has always been a passion. And what we say, it's never too late, right? You can always learn, you can always try. And you always encouraged her, like, go for it. What gets you to that level? Like, how did you get here and then start doing celebrities? Because I think a lot of people, that is a dream.
Yeah.
How do you accomplish that dream?
So going back to, so I went to the school then, so that was paid for, and then I went for a year to Frankfurt, which was, by the way, I didn't learn anything in this makeup school. Like, it was just like, like I don't recommend anyone to go to a particular makeup school, because it's just makeup you learn by doing so. Like, I learned everything by assisting other makeup artists.
You did, right?
But what I did
Experience.
learn was getting out of my small town, not being around, because everything in, like, where I grew up, like my mom, everyone was around me. I didn't have a chance to really like being by myself, try, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So for me to like go to Germany, be on my own, be without my parents, just being away from everything. That was like my first sort of like experience of being by myself. And then after that, I went to Munich. I assisted another makeup artist. And then something happened. My brother's wife passed away, unfortunately, which was really, really sad. And he was already living in Los Angeles. And his son was 9 months old. And I will never forget the phone call when, this happened. And my parents were like, you know what, you have to go and help your brother. So that is really how I came to America. And I wasn't planning on living here. My plan was to come for a couple of months and to
Just help him.
Yes, to get,
In this devastating time.
to get through this
Just
time.
any phone call can change your life.
Exactly.
Remember that.
And so I came here, and because my brother was already in the film business, he helped me to, get a few connections and to like start assist. So I assisted for a couple of years, like really big makeup artists. And that's really where I learned everything to become a makeup artist,
Right.
by like learning, going on set, because it's a whole different ball game than being in a makeup school. They might teach you about colors and undertones, but like the real job as a makeup artist is really when you learn being on set.
Yes.
And like
dealing with the personalities.
and having like a
right?
mentor and having someone who really, and I learned so much by assisting, because it's just like the etiquette on how you behave on set. Especially here in Hollywood, you're dealing with these huge actors and huge personalities
And it's not always easy. It's not always kind, and it's not, it's true, right? You're dealing with, you got to learn how to read the room. Because you always tell me that. One thing Monica's great at is she would always say, she's like, I can immediately read the room. I know exactly how to handle somebody. Like, what mood they're in, what you need to do to keep them calm, or whatever it is, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there any mentors you want to thank, right? Just out of curiosity, anybody that you like gave you just great piece of advice when you were getting started?
One of the people I assisted a couple of times was Kevin Aquan, who is not around anymore, who was amazing.
Yeah.
And I just worked with so many big, amazing makeup artists who I just, I learned so much from them.
And can I ask you a question? Were there female makeup artists that, were super helpful to you in mentoring? Because sometimes women can be quite competitive. And women sometimes can be like, you're cute, but like stay in your lane. Like, I don't want you to be better than me. I don't want you taking my job. People can be all of our fields, right? There's always somebody nipping at your heels. Did you sense any of that competitiveness or weirdness in the makeup world?
I have to say, like, the people I worked with were amazing and super helpful.
Yeah.
It definitely, my industry can be, it can
Little
be tough.
competitive,
It can
right?
be competitive. And another thing, what is really important when you are what is really great when you're assisting is because you can still make mistakes and you can sort of like fuck up. Like, the minute you are working as a makeup artist,
You can't fuck up.
You can fuck up and you can make mistakes. So
Like
I
a red
always,
carpet look, you can't fuck up.
You can.
You know what I mean? It's not
So,
gonna, like, no
and
one's
what I
gonna react.
notice a lot of times is people, like, they want to like rush that step and they want to be immediately working as makeup artists. And I always, my biggest advice is to people is just take your time, learn as much as you can, assist as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because again,
Don't
you
rush it.
You don't rush it. You can make your mistakes. And then once you're on your own, it's so important to like really take your time to be really secure in what you do.
And even Monica will, and I say all ladies, take advice from, again, I always say multi-generational friendships are so important because the people that you're mentoring now are people who see you, she will be the first person to say, hey, you really should bring that in your case. Like Monica will remind people and be like, you need this, you need this. You need somebody to remind you what's important because when you're starting out, you do make a lot of mistakes.
Oh, you remember, I did that with one of, yes.
But I laugh because it's so true. And if we don't do that, how does anyone learn?
Yeah.
And it isn't coming from a bad place. And I think women usually take it that way, that like you're doing something, like you're not doing enough, or maybe you're judging. But if anything, I think most women are just trying to help. But we take it wrong. You know what I mean? But I think it's so important for all of us to mentor and help the younger generations that are coming up.
Yeah.
So how did you get, because I think it's fascinating. First of all, where does Monika Blunder Beauty come from? Okay, like how did this get started? Because now you're working as a makeup artist, right? You're working. I actually think it's fascinating because I would love to give a shout out to your incredible husband, Gino Prensena. If you guys do not know his artwork, it is beyond, like I want 10 of his pieces. And he's so talented. But it's a very similar story to John and I in the sense that, he was working, he was doing his job and decided he wanted to make a change. And he loves photography. That's his passion. That's his love. And the fact that you not only, I don't want to say allowed because he's always allowed, right? But the fact that you really supported that and the fact that you allowed him to live his dream too is something I really talk a lot about.
Yeah.
It's, that both people in the relationship, whether it's your partner or your husband or your wife, need to both feel seen and heard and like you're living out your own dreams.
Absolutely.
Right? So was that a hard time? I'm just curious for you guys. Was that a hard, difficult time?
Yeah.
Or?
So my husband was working for a pretty well-known famous actor for over 12 years as an estate manager. And that was really the time, like, right after we got married and we had our kids and our kids were still really little. And then after like 12 years, he had this passion about photography and he traveled a lot with his job. And during his travels, he took so many photos and people were so drawn to his photography and people wanted to buy some of his pieces.
Right.
And it was a hard time for us when he was traveling because my kids were so little and he was always gone. And I was always praying to God. I'm like, please, I want him to have a different job. I want him to be home. I missed him so much. And I was just like, I'm raising these kids on my own. He's always gone.
And you're working all the time.
And I was working all the time. And I was just manifesting all the time. I'm like, please. And then one day he was like, I think I want to do the switch and I want to become a full-time photographer, which was scary at first to me, but also I was so excited for him to find, because he was grinding at this job, which was an amazing job. He got paid really well. But I just for the long run, I didn't see that this was something that he could be happy with for the rest of his life. And I was like, you know what?
I just want to touch on that.
Yeah.
Because I think none of us take the time to think about what our partner would be happy doing because we're all very focused on ourselves, right? We want to make sure we're happy. But it is it's teamwork. It's like if he's happy, you're happy. If you're happy, he's happy, right? It is a win-win. So for him to say, listen, something I really want to do, right? As a wife, it's so easy to be like, absolutely not. You're making money. You're not going to take this risk. This is crazy. You've lost your mind. And it takes a lot of courage, I think, when John lost his job to say, we're going to be okay. Yeah. Maybe we need to pivot and change. And I believe in you. Yeah. And I feel like that changes the marriage and the relationship.
It really does.
Doesn't it?
Yes. I mean, we were lucky that I had a job still and I was working. But at the end of the day, I wanted him to be happy. And I'm just so happy that he made this switch because his work is just so beautiful. And I'm just so proud of what what he has accomplished. He just had a beautiful show at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And just seeing all his art all over the hotel.
He was beaming that night. He was beaming.
I was so proud of him.
So proud of him. And it's just you realize you should pursue your dreams.
Yes.
You just should when you see how happy it makes you. And I think as women, especially us, we're in our 50s.
Yeah.
I think it's not normal. It's not usual for women to start over in their 50s. I think we've normalized that women are basically half dead. You know what I mean? Like after 40, after kids, after your husband, it's like, oh, it's over for you. Like you're not doing anything else. Meanwhile, we have an incredible group of friends that are just getting started.
It's just
and it's the most empowering thing I've ever been around.
I mean, look at yourself. Like it's incredible.
But I feel like we've been on this journey, and I think let's talk romance. Let's talk about our romance. Me and Monica's love affair, because it ties into your brand. And because I want to say a few things about your brand and about you that I find so admirable. And let's tell the story of how we met, because I think it's interesting. I have a few things I want to say about how, after. But how did we meet, Mon? Do you want to start our love story?
Yes, absolutely. So definitely...
you started Monika Blunder Beauty first, right? You've got a brand now. Let's start there so that people understand you have a brand at this point.
Well, maybe we should just finish off. So
finish your story.
When I came to America, I was assisting. Then I started working as a makeup artist, and when you were saying, oh, Monika, you've worked with all these people, how did you do this? And the thing as a makeup artist is you start, I started at the bottom. Like I started assisting, doing all these small jobs. And then I got my very first celebrity client in the 90s, like when I started. And I got Rebecca Romaine. That was my very first celebrity client. And then I did everything with her. And then after her, I got Molly Sims.
The best.
And then after Molly, it was just like, as a makeup artist, you kind of like, once people know that you're working and they know that you're good, like the next person wants to work with you. And it's, you just establish, it's word of mouth. You establish your clientele. And
the podcast, exactly. Word of mouth. No, but it's slow and steady, right? You just have to you've got to work it.
And you
get
one.
People.
It's like a little,
Absolutely.
Thing that get the next person. And then that's sort of like how I started my career. And I started from doing models, and then I went up to doing actors, and I got Amanda Seyfried as my client. After that, I got, Jessica Alba, and just so on, and then one after the other. And
it's pretty incredible how supportive they've all been of you.
They've all been amazing.
I have to say, all these celebrities that, sometimes you never know, right? People on TV and people even on social media. I've met people in person, and you're like, that is absolutely not what you're showing on social media. You know what I mean? Where you're like shocked at how not nice they are, but they're promoting positivity and kindness, which is terrifying. But I think for you, I've been blown away by how, honestly, how much all these celebrities have supported you, and they really are supporting another woman.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I feel like it's changing. I feel like the tides are changing, that women are understanding that we're not against each other, and that it actually does not help you to tear another woman down.
Yeah.
It actually just hurts you. And the more love, the more power that we all give each other, the more we all rise. Yeah. Don't you agree? So how did you start with the business? How did you start with what made you think at 50, was it 52 you started?
No, like 49 was
49 is when you really started.
Yeah, when I started. So then I worked as a makeup artist for over 20 years, over 2 decades in Hollywood. And, it's always been like, a thought or a dream of mine to have my own product. As a makeup artist, I think a lot of makeup artists, you want your own product. It's just something I think I was always dreaming about. And
look, at the end of the day, you want your own company.
Yeah.
Right? You want to work for yourself.
I want to work for myself.
Yeah.
But the time was just never right. My kids were still little. I was working as a makeup artist, and I was just always pushing it away. And then, I was able to meet my business partner, Sandy, who is amazing.
Okay, wait, but you were always pushing it away, but why?
Because my kids were little. I was still working as a makeup artist, and I was just,
this is a mom thing. Like, like we're women, it is hard because
it wasn't the right time.
As much, I remember somebody saying to me, like, when do you start? I'm like, I just don't know what that is yet. Like, I'm just not ready because the kids are so small. You can't function. You can't figure it out. But one day it suddenly hits you. Yeah. It's bizarre. And it's true. It's like when you're ready, you're ready. Yeah. Don't you think? Like, people try to rush it and push it and force it.
And also getting older, you have to understand my job as a makeup artist. I think it's a great, and I don't know, I might get some heat for this, but I think it's a great job when you're young. Like when you're in your 20s and your 30s, first of all, I traveled all over the world as a makeup artist. I've been all over with my clients on press tours, and it's amazing. But also, when you have kids and a
was that hard as
family,
a mom?
I mean, sometimes, yeah. I went with Jessica. I went for 2 weeks to China, to Korea, and it is hard as a mom, being away. And
Did
the
you have mom
older,
guilt?
I had so much mom guilt.
Did you?
all
honestly?
the time?
Because we just had an episode, and honestly, it's pure mom guilt,
Yeah.
right? Like you feel guilty for working, and you feel guilty for not
Always.
working, right?
Always.
Like it's
Always.
crazy.
But then the older I was getting, it was just like, I don't know how much longer I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I was always thinking about my end goal. I was like, I can't be being on set, traveling, when I'm getting older, but I still want to work. And I have all this experience under my belt, and I've, worked for so many years. I'm not done yet. So that is when I was like contemplating on
Guys,
the
she's
thought.
49 and she wasn't done yet. Just listen to that, okay? Because people at 40 think their life is over.
Yeah,
So you were like, I'm just getting started. Like I still got shit to do.
absolutely.
Okay, tell us how you got started. It's amazing.
And then I was like, okay, I think it's time. I want to do my product. I was very lucky and fortunate enough to meet my business partner, who's my partner now, Sandy.
Sandy, we love you.
We love you. And we had this idea together to start Monika Blunder Beauty. And I was like, I want to start with one product. And I know exactly what the product is going to be. And then we'll build the company slowly. And we started with Blunder Cover, which is my hero product. It's a
Yes.
foundation concealer hybrid. And that took me 2 years to really, create that product. Like
So for everyone who thinks you're an overnight success, because I think the second that you have success or you're out there, your photos in something, people think that like yesterday you started and that it's easy, and why isn't it happening for them? And it's so not. It took you 2 years, and I've been with you. I want to say it's proof. I have been there through the entire process after we met, and you started doing other products.
And you met me when I was already 2 years in. But
2 years in,
Yeah,
and
because-
it's still crazy how much work that you have to put in just to
Yeah.
get a product out. Like
Yeah.
all the testing, all the like samples. All people think
You've
it's
seen it
easy.
all.
It is not easy. Like all the decisions that have to be made, and to perfect it, to make it that high quality. Because I know that what you care most about is that it's clean, is that it's
ingredients.
the ingredients. Okay, tell
Absolutely.
us, Mom, because but that product is amazing.
Yeah.
You knocked it out of the park with that.
Thank you. So when I met you, I was, like I said, already 2 years in, like just, creating the company and finding all the, it's no one teaches you that, like how to find a lab and where to go. And at the beginning, we had so many mistakes that we made. As an example, it was Monika Blunder Beauty. We had a name first for the company, which is zart, which is a German word, which means soft and tender and gentle, which I still stand very behind that word. But it's very similar to Sarah, the way how it's spelled. So we would get letters from lawyers saying like, if you might get sued,
got it.
So we had to start all over, and luckily
God.
we weren't in production yet, so we had to
Quickly
change everything. So there were so many hurdles I had to pass and get through and learn. I've never done a business.
Did you want to give up
before.
at any time?
There were so many times.
Because I've thrown my phone against the wall. You do, right? Because I think people think it's easy.
And
It's,
even
startups
now,
are brutal.
There's still so many days where I'm just like, this is so hard. But then all I think about is my retirement check one day, hopefully. That I'm like, I hope that is coming in
Monica,
one
you're
day.
gonna take care of me. You're my husband. I need you to
One
I need you to
day,
sell the company.
One
okay.
day this is going to happen. But
Monica, you really guys are taking care of me, so you need to sell
I
the
am
company.
going to take care of you. But honestly, as a startup, there's so many, like I said, on Instagram, it always looks amazing. I'm in New York and I'm traveling.
And you're with all the editors at dinner.
Yeah.
It does
And
look.
people
it looks
think
fabulous.
it's so
Yes.
glamorous, and it is wonderful what I do. But also a startup, I always say it's like a big puzzle. What I do, and every day there's little issues that I have to deal with, which you don't even see all the things I have to deal with. The component doesn't fit into this thing, and the production company's behind, and they're telling me, we won't be able to launch next month. We have to do it 2 months later, and then you have to. It's just like a
There's always
constant
something.
thing you have to deal with. But that's the beauty of being a startup. And I've learned so much, and I wouldn't want it any other way. It's been so rewarding just to see the response to the product,
Yes.
and everyone loves it so
And
much.
I think, isn't it fun to, don't you feel so much more empowered now that I was like, I don't think I ever opened a computer. I did not know how to like even tag a brand. Like I had no idea anything tech. And the fact that like 7 years later, it just proves that you can learn anything, because I literally can open up anything and be like, okay, how do I figure this out? Okay, I'm going to look at the YouTube channel. I'm going to Google it. I read the article and then I'm like, let's go. And you just figure it out. And it's so empowering when you do that, because you're like, I am fucking smart.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I figured. There was one thing that John was like, I was going to ask him, and then I went and I was like, I'm not asking him. I refused to ask him. I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And when I did, I felt so badass.
It feels
and
good.
It does feel good. So you kind of forget that the hard work is really part of the journey.
It really is.
It really is. It's so rewarding.
And it's really rewarding to learn and to, because these are things I didn't know before. And it's just so rewarding to learn a different craft, because it's empowering, because you can learn really everything.
You, I think in our age, to be honest with you, after 50, with dementia and Alzheimer's becoming so prevalent, and even younger now, which is terrifying, I think it's something that to keep learning, to keep having to master new tasks, to have to keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, I actually think will make you live longer.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
We talk about this all the time. You got to use your brain.
Yeah.
You got to try new things. You got to challenge yourself.
Absolutely.
It's in the challenge that your brain works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it keeps it alive.
Yeah.
Monika, tell me what you thought when you first met me. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Okay. So your product is out. You're 2 years in.
And then I remember we launched in 2020, which is COVID.
Oh,
We're
right.
still in COVID.
Oh my God, that's right. It was COVID.
December of 2020, my product launched. And remember, it's a complexion product, which is everyone was wearing masks. So there I am launching a complexion product, and people are in masks. But what made my product so unique compared to many other complexion products on the market at that time was that it was, again, a hybrid product that you can use just underneath your eyes, or you can use it around your T-zone, you can use it all over your face. So even when people were wearing masks, they still wanted to do something a little bit underneath the eyes. So I think the attraction with Blunder Cover was like, oh, there's like a new...
It's multi-purpose.
It's multi-purpose. So we actually did really well launching it in COVID. And... and then the thing what I did is I had a list of people I sent products to, obviously all my celebrity clients, my colleagues, other hair and makeup people, stylists.
Which is all part of the PR, guys. When you're starting a brand, this is how every time you launch a product.
You want to send it, you want to get it into
people's hands.
People post and talk about it, obviously, right? So actually, we have a mutual friend, Andrea, who is also your friend, who I saw, I think, on a walk, or we had a coffee or something, and she mentioned you, and she said, I should send my product to you, and I've never heard of you, but we
see how sweet that a friend mentions your name in a room you're not in.
Exactly.
Don't we talk about this all the time, that she thought of me and mentioned it to you? I think that's amazing, because we do that all the time for each other. Monica's always like, you should call Caroline, or you should use Caroline. We're always like helping each other. So remember that, women.
Exactly.
Ladies, remember to help each other. Anyway, go ahead.
And so she told me, this girl Caroline, she's my really good friend, she's on Instagram, we live in the same neighborhood in Encino. I think that she would be a great person to send it to. So I sent it to you, and I will never forget when you tagged me, and I just was like, who is that Caroline? I think you had all my products on your bed laid out, and you dog Roxy was stealing the brush and running around. And you did this whole post on Grid, and I'm like, she is so freaking adorable and cute. Who is this Caroline? And at that time, you were really just at I think 25,000 followers or something.
I think I think I was steady at 38 the entire time. Remember, it was 30 to 38. I think
something like that. Yeah. But there was just something about you. I just thought you were so charming. You were so cute. You were so bubbly and adorable, and I just wanted to know more about you. And I think I DM'd you, and I thanked you for the post, and then we just stayed in touch via DM. It was still, it was pretty much COVID time. People weren't really going out yet or anything
No, but
like
we
that.
were following each other, and I think
And
it
we
was
start-
that us watching each other and like communicating. It was kind of like, I really like this person. Like it's like we would just, whatever
Yeah.
reason, it was like you knew that there was a connection.
Yeah,
for
and I
whatever
just
reason.
knew I wanted to meet you in person. And then I think I just reached out to you via DM and I just asked you, hey, can we go for dinner? And then we made it a couple's dinner.
We made it a double. You guys,
We made it a double
it
date.
was a blind double date.
And we've
Our
never met each other.
Never met each other. We are meeting on Instagram, basically a dating site. I'm kidding. And we are meeting for dinner, and it's the first time either of us had been out since COVID. So this is the first dinner out where people aren't out. People are in masks. We are all meeting for the first time at this cute little restaurant in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
And I just think it's funny because I think people, first of all, think that you can't make friends later in life. So number
And
one.
also Instagram, I gotta also
Yes, please.
speak to that too, because I have this like love-hate relationship with Instagram. But I do
We love
have
and hate you, Instagram.
yeah, we love and hate you. But I do have to say that I have met some wonderful people on Instagram.
Me too.
And it's just proof that you can reach out and you can meet actually some really wonderful people on Instagram.
Later in life, I just really want to just nail this point in because Monika and I became friends in our 50s.
Yeah.
Like literally. And I can't imagine my life without her now. Like it's one of those weird, like you meet somebody and it's just like a sister. It just feels like family. I don't know what it is. We've traveled to 100 million places together. And we joke now about like how we're going to travel the world. We're going to end up living together. Like it is something that I never want you to feel that it is impossible. I get so many DMs saying that women just are so alone, that they have no friends. It is devastating when you hear this. Like I get DMs of being like, will you be my friend or something? I'm like, I am your friend. Of course, you're always welcome. But
yeah.
reach out. Like you do have to make an effort. Sitting in your house, sitting alone and just thinking you can't or you're never going to meet anybody.
Yeah.
No one's banging on your door. No random woman is coming to your door to be like, hey, you want to be friends?
Yeah.
Let's go out. You do have to make an effort to reach out.
Yeah.
You find somebody you respect and admire, send them a DM. Right?
Yeah, but I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, why did we connect so well? But I was thinking, look, I've made some beautiful friendships over the years where I live through my children, you know.
Me too.
And which is great, but at the end of the day, my children are the ones who chose, you know, their friends, and then you become friends with your children's friends' parents, which
Absolutely.
is great.
It's amazing.
But I didn't choose those people, right?
Right.
My kids chose those people.
Right.
And I love all of them. But at the end of the day, our friendship wasn't through our children. It was through us. It's sort of like we chose each other, which actually Gino, my husband, pointed that out to me the other day. And I thought it was really interesting because we have very similar interests. We love fashion, you love makeup,
We love to travel.
We love to travel.
We love to have fun. We're both like, we love to laugh. We love to have fun. We're both very affectionate.
And it's really the friendship
Yeah.
I kind of found myself. And the last friendships were through my children, and they're all great, but they're different friendships. So it's very interesting to look at it that way.
It is
as
true.
well.
And you really can, because it's like meeting people that fit your future,
Mm-hmm.
because we have incredible friendships, obviously, our whole life, right? Because you grow up, you have your mom friends and all the people that get you through surviving. I mean, it's survival.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get to a point where you start to be able to choose because you have more time and you have more freedom, and you start really understanding who you are and what you're looking for and what makes you happy and what makes you feel good. And I think at my age, I want to be around people that make me feel good.
Yeah.
I want to be around people that I feel seen and heard, to be honest, and respected. Like I really don't have time for the bullshit. And there is something that later in life, I know exactly what suits me. I know who I like to spend my time with. I know who makes me feel good. And that's where I put my energy and I focus. And I never want women to think that you're stuck, or that you're stuck in this bubble, that you can't meet anybody or you can't do anything. You might have to make some effort. You may have to go do maybe things that, you know, real passionate things that you have for yourself, like activities or things that you love to do. Start doing those things. Start putting yourself out there, because I want to remind everyone that yes, social media, new activities, new places, join a book club. You absolutely can meet incredibly smart, capable women that actually lift you up. So don't ever think you can't. So I think that's amazing. So we went out for dinner. Just a quick funny story because I just think it says something about us and our relationship because our husbands are best friends now. John is dressing like Gino now. That's all you need to know. He's in all black. He thinks he's Gino, and then he threw his back out trying to be superhuman like Gino is. Okay, Gino is the CrossFit master, and John, I love you, John, but you're not there just yet. So we need to take it easy. But Gino he's just the coolest. I don't know. So when we all met, this is what's funny. Gino and John are actually quite similar. They're both quiet, but they're hilarious when they're comfortable, right? It's like once they're comfortable with you, once they like you, like once they're in, then you see the real personality. But they're both kind of quiet. I always say that John, I feel like people think John is dead boring because if he's not interested, sorry, John, but it's true. It's like if he's not interested, he looks like he's just staring at his phone. Like he can't fake it. Where I can smile even if I'm annoyed. Like I can be in a situation and still like make do. Yeah. John's like, and I'm like, John, I'm never bringing you. Like you're the worst purse. Like your purse can't be pissed. You know what I mean? So it was one of those where I'm like, okay. And so Gino and John are similar where they know exactly what they like. They know who they like to be around. So bottom line, she sets up this blind date. We're like, okay, let's do it. It's our first night out of COVID. All right, we're risking it. We're going to do it. So we get into the car. I'm dressed up. I'm excited to meet Monika. And John is in the car and he's like, I don't understand. Who are we meeting? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, listen, I met her on Instagram. She's a makeup. I was like, I just love her. I feel like we have a great connection. You're coming, shut the fuck up, make it work. You got to talk, be fun, and smile. I was like, he's like, well, who's the husband? What does the husband do? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Just be quiet and show up to dinner, okay? Just look good. So literally, we get to dinner, we're sitting there, we're like sweating, we don't know what we're doing. And then Monika comes in, she sits down with Gino, and this is why we became best friends immediately. She literally is like, hey guys, it's been a shit show. She's like, Gino didn't want to come. He had an anxiety attack. And she's like, who are we meeting? He's like, and I'm like, really? Because John was screaming at me in the car. He didn't know where we were going, what we were meeting. So we all just start laughing. Everyone's having anxiety. And by the end, we closed the restaurant down. And we planned a trip to Mexico 2 weeks later.
Came 2 weeks later with us to Mexico.
And it's been a love story ever since. We spend every single weekend together. Every Sunday, I think we've been on 5 trips to Costa Rica, to here, to there. Yeah. And we basically are going to retire together and live together. So anything is possible on Instagram. But bottom line, Mon, I wanted to ask you a really question. Okay? Because I actually think as we're in midlife, as we're in our 50s, number one, how do you feel right now in your 50s? Because I think people always assume the 50s was the Golden Girls, that we're old ladies with gray hair. Well, I do have gray hair. I mean, this isn't real. You know what I mean? But what is it that, like, how do you feel now? Because I feel really fucking good at 52. It's funny. I feel like when I went through menopause, I felt like fucking shit. Yeah. And I think there was definitely a couple of ages there after little kids, and menopause was brutal. But like, I feel like I got my groove back. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel really good. How do you feel at this age?
I feel amazing, just like you. I just feel like right now, I just like bring it on. Like I'm loving life right now. My kids are finally at this stage where they're self-sufficient. My daughter's in college, second year.
She's the best.
My son is, I have him 1 more year at home, and I just feel so inspired with my company to work as hard as I can. And
are you glad you started it when you did? Because now you're going to be empty nester.
I did, because I honestly would say if I wouldn't have this, right? I mean, that's a whole other topic, like starting, having your kids leave for college.
And it's funny because we literally did a whole episode on, we have an episode coming up on empty nest, and I think people don't really understand what's coming. Yeah. And what I dealt with you, she was crying every fucking day.
Yeah, I was crying with you.
Literally crying every single day. I'm waiting for the Gabriel next year. Is going to be a disaster.
I think I'm going to be easier with him because I know what's ahead of me.
That's true.
And I think that what I didn't realize, I thought that Valentina would just be gone. But what people don't tell you, they actually, you see, she comes back all the time.
You talk to her all the time.
First of all, with my work, I get to go to New York. Like, I was just in New York 3 weeks ago. She just got back yesterday. She's going to be here till August. That's almost 3 months. And then,
so you don't lose your kids, bottom line.
Basically they come home all the time. And then you're like, oh, it's time for you to leave again.
You're glad you have something busy. crazy, right? Aren't you
Yes.
glad that you
But
have
I'm
your own
really,
company and
really
something
happy.
to focus? Because would you have been a fucking mess?
Well, that's one thing I noticed with some of my mommy friends who don't have a job. It was so much harder for them, even because I think you put all your time and your effort into your children. And when they leave, you have to have something.
That's why I think it's so important.
It's so important
and
for
start
your
sooner
mind.
than later, so
Yeah.
you're not caught in the situation where you're fearing and then
Yeah.
stopping yourself from doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Mon, I know we need to wrap up. I just love talking to you. I think you have the most incredible work ethic. I think you have such an incredible team. I think you have the most beautiful family. I'm just honored to have you in my corner and as such an incredible friend. And I just want you to if there's one piece of advice, and I also want you to tell everybody what makes you get up and get dressed every day.
Oh, well, first of all, I feel the same way. I feel so lucky and honored that you're on my side. You're the most supportive woman I've ever met in my life. You have been so, I don't want to start crying right
too.
now,
I'm gonna
but
cry too.
you have been, just alone with my brand. Like, you just always shout my name to
From the mountaintops.
from the mountaintops all the way up and down. And I just feel so lucky to have you on my side. And
before you finish that last, I want to say, you guys, Monika was the person that when I had 30,000 or whatever followers, she put me in, she actually put me in her campaign. I was nobody. I was just her friend. I was just somebody that she respected and loved, and she thought I'd be perfect because she uses real women and she believes in supporting women and women in their 50s and 40s. She used me as her model.
Yeah,
she
you're the most beautiful model ever.
Oh my God,
there.
I love you. But
the
I think this is, can we have more of this? Can we show, ladies, can we have more of this? But anyway, what makes you get up and get dressed every day, Mon?
So for me, what makes me get up is, I love to work out. And for me, my workouts are everything. That is I get so excited in the morning. So I'm a little bit crazy. I get up at 5:30 every morning, and I get up and I go to the gym. So I'm usually at 6 o'clock in the gym.
She is, guys.
And
she really is.
I work out for an hour and 15-20 minutes every day. And I love the grind. I think, again, it comes from my upbringing and from where I'm from. I love the feeling of being uncomfortable sometimes, and I like to make myself uncomfortable in order to be comfortable. I don't like things to be too easy. And I love that feeling. And then I know, when I come home by 7:15, 7:20, I'm home, and I feel so strong and empowered. And I feel like I have the whole day ahead of me, and I feel strong, and I can tackle all the problems that come along with building a company. And
you
that's
get
really
dressed.
what
You do.
And I do, but I'm different than you. I when I'm not going to do a makeup job, I still work as a makeup artist. I would say maybe once a week I go on set, or maybe 4 times a month, 5 times a month. And so when I go on set, I do get dressed and I put a little bit of makeup on. But when I'm at home, because I work from home, I do get dressed, but I don't really, it's funny, I'm a makeup artist and I actually don't love wearing a lot of makeup.
You guys,
so
she doesn't wear makeup. She's a makeup artist.
I don't wear makeup at home, and I'm different. I don't really get all dressed up. I like to look cute.
You always look amazing.
But I'm not fully made up. And,
but you're not walking around in your pajamas.
But I don't walk around in my pajamas.
No, you make the effort to shower and get dressed.
And when I
feel
do
your
go on
best.
set, also I don't overdo myself, because that's one thing I learned as a makeup artist. You want to be a little bit more discreet, and I don't like to show up with this huge full face of makeup, because I always feel like clients look at you, they're like, and you kind of get judged, if I'm coming with a contoured face and glitter on my eyes, they'd be like, well, is she doing that makeup?
Wow,
is she doing that look on me too? So I think
so true.
being understated is sort of my motto. And I also, honestly, I love, I love the confidence of a woman to not wear makeup, or to wear very little makeup, because again, that ties me back to my upbringing and where I'm from. Women where I'm from, or European women, they do wear like lesser makeup. And I find it super confident when a woman is
And
like,
they're always
you know what I
well-dressed.
mean?
I'm
Like,
sorry,
I don't
but they
always
are.
have to be all made up and dolled up to
But it's
to
put
be
together.
Yeah.
It's knowing that you've like taken the
Yeah.
time to make a little bit of effort to
Exactly.
put yourself together so that you're ready and prepared for the day.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
And
fucking
whatever
happens.
that is for you, everyone has a different version of that,
Right,
right?
right.
So
Whatever works for you.
yeah, whatever
amazing.
floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat. All right, everybody, you guys, it's been so much fun having Monika here. I feel like I have to have her back because we could talk for 17 hours straight, unfortunately, for all of you. But it's been amazing, you guys. Please check out Monika Blunder Beauty. Her products are beyond incredible. And check out Monika Blunder on Instagram. She's so much fun, you guys. You do the best cooking, fashion. She's just an incredible human being who I am lucky enough to call my best friend. So thank you for being here, Mon. I love you so, so much. And guys, next week we'll be coming in hot with another topic. So take care. Thank you for being here. Please like, review, and follow. We love you so much. And I am so grateful for you all. Have the best week. Let's fucking go. Get up and get dressed. Mwah. Bye.